we're standing in front of a bust of Jose Rizal in a little Czech town called Litoměřice, a place that's not on many people's must-go-to destinations.
Yet, if you're interested in the history of the Philippines and in the life of Jose Rizal, this is the place to be because Rizal is venerated here in a way that would put many of us Filipinos to shame.
As a matter of fact, that bust lies on a medieval wall that's not named after a Czech politician or king, but after our very own Jose Rizal.
I'm Jessica Zafra. I'm a writer and I travel for material.
I'm Pepe. I'm a filmmaker and I travel for inspiration. We're traveling around the world
To find the Filipino connections.
This is the Flip Trip. Previously on the Flip Trip, we flew to the Czech capital of Prague and got drunk on its beauty. We shopped for local crafts and marveled at Art Deco and Art Nouveau. We bumped into a series of icons, Alfons Mucha, Franz Kafka, and John Lennon. We learned that beneath the fabulous architecture of the city lies a long and complicated history. And finally, we found the city's connection to the Philippines, the Santo Niño.
In this episode, we're still in the Czech Republic, but the history we're exploring is our own. We're following in the footsteps of the Philippine national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. Surprised? So were we. Join us as we go beyond Prague.
Our first stop was Litoměřice, a town 64 kilometers from Prague in the northern part of the Czech Republic. It's an agricultural center and a port, and it survived the Hussite Wars, the 30 Years' War, and the Holocaust. But our main interest stems from 4 days in 1887, when Jose Rizal paid a visit to Ferdinand Blumentritt.
What did Jose Rizal do in Litoměřice that made such an impression? We find the answers up next on the Flip Trip.
We've arrived in Litoměřice, a town 64 kilometers from Prague in the northern part of the Czech Republic. Our main interest here stems from 4 days in 1887, when Jose Rizal paid a visit to his friend, Ferdinand Blumentritt. Upon arriving, we went straight to the mayor's office, where we were greeted by our guide and a bust of our national hero.
Hi, Pepe.
And my name?
Nice to meet you.
It's your national hero. It's here for 20 years.
How many Jose Rizal statues are there in Litoměřice?
There is 3 statues with this. And also our medieval fortification was named by Jose Rizal.
Why are there so many remembrances of Jose Rizal?
For me, I think he was the best friend of Ferdinand Blumentritt, our professor. He was born in Prague, but most of life lived here in Litoměřice.
He said best friend.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think he was best friend because I read some letters from him, and it was really nice letters.
Yes,
And
and
also,
you read them in German, right?
Yeah, and also before he was executed, the last letter what he write was to Ferdinand Blumentritt. The last letter, not to mom, to family, but to Ferdinand Blumentritt.
To the best
It's
friend.
the last letter who he wrote.
And is
Yes.
Blumentritt an important part of Litoměřice history?
Yeah. It's and his father was also really famous, and his family in 18th century working for a noble house Lobkowicz.
Lobkowicz.
One of the
Santo
most
Niño.
famous Czech noble houses.
Yes.
And their family working for Lobkowicz. And then he moved to Litoměřice also.
How does it feel, Jessica, looking at a bust of Jose Rizal in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, in somewhere in Central Europe.
Yeah,
You walk into an office and it's very,
Weird.
yes. But then, he traveled all over.
All Litoměřice citizens know that name, know your Jose Rizal.
Wow.
And we welcome every year many tourists from Philippines.
We have a street named after Blumentritt.
Yeah, so we have a street after Rizal, you have a street after
So
Blumentritt.
it's an exchange.
It's a nice.
We can be best friends too.
Yeah, I hope that.
The Rizal bust in the mayor's office was just the first of several reminders of his visit to Litoměřice. There's another one at this hotel, which used to be the mayor's residence.
In 16 May, he visit this house and visit the mayor of city. And also, he signed it to memorial book of Litoměřice. And that's why it's his best still there.
What is this house now?
This house now is a hotel, but it's a really old house from 16th century, and from 18th century was also town hall. So that's why Jose Rizal visit this house, because mayor lived there.
Up next, we visit the most historical site in Litoměřice, Jose Rizal Park.
Litoměřice isn't a must-see destination, not even for the natives. But for historians studying our national history, it offers insights into the life of Jose Rizal.
Like his Filipino friend, Blumentritt was a man of many interests. The school director, who worked in this very building, was also an avid historian, ethnographer, and authority on Philippine language and culture. This despite never having set foot on Philippine soil.
Here on the rest of medieval city walls, we can see bust of Ferdinand Blumentritt, our professor of local gymnasium, world's famous explorer of Philippines, and also the closest friends of Jose Rizal.
That's another way to put it.
Best friends. The Philippine national hero. Also is the world's
It's a quote from Jose Rizal.
Yes, it's really beautiful.
What did he say?
Also, all my heart, I am the Litoměřice citizen. Also, like you, are from all heart from Philippine.
It's very romantic.
Yeah.
He think he's born here in Litoměřice. Also, Blumentritt thinks he was born in Philippines. Yes, so really beautiful
Yeah,
contrast.
If you heard that today, you'd go, hee.
It's like a what do you call that? It's a what's that line?
Oh, a hugot line.
Hugot, yes.
Yes, it's a hugot
It's
line.
almost it, yeah.
And from these words, we can know the Jose Rizal really loved this city. Yes, that's why he write something like this. He really must
How
love
much
this
time did he spend here? Do you know?
city. Not so much. I think just 1 week.
Okay, that's very intense for
Yeah,
1
but
week.
he really loved it. He knows historical informations about the Litoměřice from Rizal's letters. Yes, Rizal writing about the Litoměřice, you need to visit this beautiful city. Also, Rizal say, you need to visit also my beautiful
Yes,
city.
and Blumentritt never went to Manila.
No, never.
And Rizal came
He
here for
really
1
walked
week.
Yeah.
From Blumentritt, it was his really big pleasure, yes, a really big dream. All his life he wanted to visit the Philippines, but he never
Never got to go.
he never got that. But many books and many things about the Philippines was real by Ferdinand Blumentritt. Yes, he was our most famous Philippines writers in Czech, and he never been there. But he was also closest friend, the best friend of Jose Rizal. So Jose Rizal everything told to him. Yes, everything about the natural, about the history, everything he told me and told him. And Ferdinand, after that, he was fall in love with Philippine.
Blumentritt and Rizal met only once when Rizal came to this town, but they became close confidants. Blumentritt translated Noli Me Tangere into German and wrote the preface to El Filibusterismo.
This spot along the ancient town fortifications is one of the most visited sites in Litoměřice. It has been renamed the Jose Rizal Wall.
This old medieval city walls is named by Jose Rizal, and there is beautiful words to the memory of the true friendships of the most famous personality of the modern Philippines, the great humanist Jose Rizal, and the director of the technical secondary school in Litoměřice, Ferdinand Blumentritt.
Jose Rizal Wall.
Yeah, because this place is most visiting place.
So the most famous landmark in Litoměřice is
I need to
named
say
for
that.
Jose
Yes,
Rizal.
because
Yes.
how you can see, it's a beautiful view to the oldest part of the city, also to Bishop residence. So this is all absolutely the favorite place for the young people in Litoměřice and for the tourists.
Jessica and I make one final stop in Litoměřice. That's up next on the Flip Trip.
It didn't seem right to leave Litoměřice without paying our respects to Mr. Blumentritt. So on a windy, blustery day, we found out where he is buried. Call me weird, but I like visiting old cemeteries.
I like cemeteries. They're very quiet and very well laid out. And, you know, it's interesting to speculate on who these people were.
When did your cemetery fascination begin?
Well, when I was a kid, like everyone, I was afraid of cemeteries because we associate them with All Saints Day, All Souls Day, and they're very crowded. But in the 90s, I got a grant and to study in the States, and my dorm room was overlooking a really old cemetery, which had beautiful angel statues, and it was where people actually went for walks. Because they're big open spaces, there's always lots of trees.
So we're here looking for the grave of
Ferdinand Blumentritt, who is number 1 on the map.
Yes, number 1.
Now, if you can just figure out what the map meant. So we found the grave of Ferdinand Blumentritt. Do you know what those words mean?
I don't speak German, but I've been told they mean a researcher of Philippine studies.
Yes, and civil servant. And we brought him some flowers.
So we followed Mr. Blumentritt all the way to the grave.
Yes, this town has seen, you know, his greatest achievements. Although he never did get to the Philippines because he was
Seasick.
But so he managed to do a lot for the Philippines here, and here he lies buried.
It's still strange for me how they celebrate Jose Rizal and Blumentritt. It's as if Jose Rizal was like the most exciting thing to have happened to them at the time.
I know, given everything that's happened in this region, it's pretty amazing.
Before we left Litoměřice, we got an invitation to visit the bishop's residence and have tea with the bishop himself. He was interested in our Catholic connections to the Czech Republic, so we were happy to chat with him.
It's an honor for us to meet you because for Filipino travelers like to go on pilgrimages.
Yes.
So we're hoping that many more Filipinos will come to Czech Republic and
To
visit
Prague.
To Prague.
To Prague.
But
then also to
Litoměřice.
We are very surprised as first-time visitors to Litoměřice to find so many connections between Litoměřice and the Philippines.
Yeah, but other than the historical connections, we also share a religious connection because
Philippines is predominantly Catholic.
how active is the Czech faith?
Není mnoho aktivní, není tak moc aktivní, pokud to měříme počtem katolíků nebo počtem věřících lidí. Ani tak mě netrápí to, že nás katolíků je málo. Na Filipínách je katolíků, jak jste řekl, 90%. U nás v České republice je katolíků 5%, ale to není moje bolest, protože, a tak to říkám i všude, kam přijdu, a říkám to i kněžím, když je nás nyní v této době málo, máme jednu velikánskou výhodu a jednu velikou příležitost. Můžeme navozovat osobní kontakty s jednotlivými lidmi.
If there are fairly few Catholics, why are there so many beautiful churches?
Máme velmi dramatickou historii do odsunu obyvatelstva z naší diecéze po druhé světové válce. 90% bylo odsunuto do Německa nebo do Rakouska. A to jenom, že mluvili německy. A tito obyvatelé byli všichni aktivními katolíky. A oni prostě v celé této naší oblasti a v celé, ten odsun se týkal celé republiky, oni všude budovali tyto krásné kostely. Z mé rodiny vlastní 2 moji strýci byli odsunuti. Jeden byl kněz a druhý měl rodinu. To byl zločin. Takže to je to. Máme mnoho krásných kostelíčků jako dědictví po těch našich předcích. My ty kostelíčky nezavíráme ani nebouráme jako komunisti, ale my věříme, že někdy v budoucnosti se ty kostelíčky zase zaplní.
So, last question. Do you have to be a Catholic to be a good person?
Mělo by to znamenat. Mělo by to tak být. Přáli bychom si to, abych já především, když jsem katolík, abych byl dobrým člověkem. Ale jsme hříšní, slabí, snažíme se o to. Chceme, aby to tak bylo.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sir, for seeing us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We still had a long way to go, so the bishop recommended that we have lunch at his favorite restaurant. Here, we loaded up on some quintessential local dishes, like meat, dumplings, and guess what? Beer.
Cheers, Jessica. Yes, best friends. So means. In the next episode of the Flip Trip, we continue our quest for Philippiniana in the Czech Republic. Along the way, we visit a few more cities and discover that there's life outside of Prague.
From Litoměřice, we drive to Mladá Boleslav, the key industrial center of the Czech Republic. It is home to the iconic Czech vehicle, Škoda.
We also visit the historic city of Olomouc. One of its notable visitors was Mozart, who finished his 6th symphony there.
Watch more at thefliptrip.com and look for us on Facebook and Instagram.